Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, this was not intended to interrupt the Minister because, Mr. Speaker, the Minister has been so generous to give us a lot of information about so many things. But as a way of procedure, Mr. Speaker, I recall that on his maiden speech in this House, the Minister undertook before this House to make sure that the youth who had been arrested and held for a long time would be released. He even went ahead to demand that a list be given to him. Mr. Speaker, now that the Minister has volunteered a lot of information, wouldn't it even have been procedural okay for him to tell us before he concludes?
Thank you.
Where he has reached so far, because he undertook before this House that we will see that as we commemorate the International Youth Day, how far has he gone on the issue of the release of the youth that he undertook to secure?
Thank you.
A while ago, the Minister for Local Government was introduced also as acting Chief Whip. Mr. Speaker, I also refer to one of my issues I raised with you recently when you were assigned by the Minister of Education. Yet in a hierarchy, you are higher than ministers. We seem, Mr. Speaker, to have a problem, and we need to be reassured that the government is still functioning as a government. The minister, the president of Gabon, has been in the country. This country has a hierarchy of the president, vice president, prime minister, the side of the executive. But the president of Gabon is made to trek a whole journey to Gulu to go and meet President Museveni's younger brother, Salim Saleh, a whole president of the country. And what they were discussing are issues of government, that on agriculture you go to my younger brother. Can we be told what position does Saleh hold? Is he the number 2 in the country? Is he number 3? Is he number 4? That you get a whole visiting head of state. You remember we nearly had problems here when Garanga crashed in a helicopter. So can we be told? Because I have also seen the vice president and the prime minister also trekking to Gulu to go and meet a person they should be supervising. So can we be told what position does General Saleh hold, such that visiting heads of state, if they don't see his elder brother, they go to see him, such that if a vice president and prime minister, when they are appointed, they go to visit him and not. So can we be told? Because that time, Mr. Speaker, I told you I fear, but you may end up one day.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, what Honorable Semuju has raised brings me to one day. I happen to know President Kibaki. So when we were hosting him here, when the government was hosting him here, on his schedule, he requested that there is someone he wants to see, and he wants to go to his home. And that was the late John Nagenda. The government made arrangements. President Kibaki came, did all state functions he needed to do, and he went to visit a personal friend on whom he reached. No ADC, no nothing. They talked about their time. I happen to know a little bit about the visit of the president of Gabon. And one of his closest friends and the people he admires most. Among the people is General Salim Salim. He made that special request that he wanted to visit General Salim as a friend. Now, it is uncourteous for a government to say, no, you can't go and visit General Salim because he's the brother of the president. It will send a wrong message. So I request you, honorable colleagues, you better befriend presidents so that when they are coming here, they put you on their itinerary and the state will allow. I'm very, very sure if the president of Gabon had chosen Honorable Semuji, it would have been facilitated properly to visit. Next item.
On commemoration of the International Youth Day, 12th August 2024.
Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister for Youth. No, no, we are proceeding well now. We on an item where they have not yet presented anything. So the procedure is right.
Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members of Parliament, the statement I'm making to this August House is about the commemoration of the International Youth Day, which is celebrated annually on the 12th of August. Background, colleagues, you may recall the International Youth Day has its origin in the first ever World Conference of Ministers responsible for youth that took place in Lisbon, Portugal, between the 8th and 12th of August 1998. Convinced by the numerical strength of the youth globally and their inherent capacity to play a pivotal role in the socio-economic.
With a lot of respect for the Minister of Youth, I love what he's reading. But, Mr. Speaker, normally when we are getting a statement for such a function, it should not involve all these details because he has a committee where he addresses these matters. And here we are. We are going to debate a statement where he's quoting a number of figures with no attachment of facts related to the figures he's giving. Would it be procedural, okay, Mr. Speaker, that we allow the new minister, he tables whatever he's stating, but again, the statement we get from him comes out in the relationship, the function of the day for the youth, other than detailing figures that we cannot internalize and comprehend now. That's Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
No, we don't work that way. I don't allow through silence. I mentioned your name. And I didn't even make any sign. But what did you want to add on?
Mr. Speaker.
Now I've made a sign.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think the Minister, what I wanted to add, these proper information for this House. If he's highlighting the successes and the achievements of those programs, he should come formally to this House, present them, then we debate them. Let us now concentrate on the organization of the day. And because it is an international day, it comes from International Day, they never focused on these programs as he's bringing them out. So let us focus on the themes, the international themes, let us focus on the national themes, and we see how our young people can benefit into that. Thank you.
Yeah. Honorable colleagues too does not give the structure of the statement the minister should make. This is a statement which the minister feels he should bring here. I remember last time, honorable colleagues, I can't remember exactly which day we are going to celebrate, but they had in how tents will be arranged, who will do the parade. The parade, we shall have this group on a parade. After this group, this one will put on this color, this one will hoist a flag. And we said no. This can't be a statement. Maybe it's a running curve. Honorable Minister, take note. Next statement, you should focus on the theme. On the theme, okay? Yeah. But so far, so good. You're doing very well, Honorable Minister. We are complaining that you've given us so much information.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Raising what he has raised, but it is on that ground that I want to give you a background when we go for celebration, we should not celebrate food and the soda. We need to celebrate achievements made from the previous celebration to date. That is the reason why I'm reading for you what I'm reading. And I would also expect you to confirm whether what I've said is true, whether it is happening. Thank you very much. Then the Youth Venture Capital Fund started in financial year 2011-2012 with a capital investment of 25 billion.
Point of order.
Mr. Speaker, maybe the new minister and it have been told how things are done here. You have guided that the minister may be in the future. The points he's raising in the statement are actually matters of policy that come here through policy statements. You actually finished them. And he doesn't have to repeat them because we have them in our books. So the point of order, Mr. Speaker, is whether the minister is in order to defy your guidance, since you have guided him to concentrate on theme and not matters of policy that come here through policy statements, and this parliament has engaged with those issues, Mr. Speaker.
Has just joined the parliament. He doesn't know that these things came here. So he might be thinking he's giving you new information. And he might explain it differently. So let's give him a chance. But I think they've taken note next time. But Honourable Minister, conclude.
Right Honourable Speaker, I'm almost concluding. Implemented the national, trained 3,982 youth from different districts of the country in digital literacy, skills under digitalization, Juakali enterprises for job productivity. Provided business toolkits and equipment since 2017 to 17,015 groups of young people to support their enterprises, out of which 7,167 are male, 9,174 are female, under the supporting the Juakali enterprises for transition to formal economy program. Commenced the implementation of the United Nations Joint Adolescent Youth Program, funded to a tune of $22 million by 13 UN agencies in collaboration with the ministries responsible for gender, labor and social development, health, education and sports, overall coordination by the UN. Agencies finalized comprehensive consultation on the life skills and health education for out-of-school adolescents and youth, and also initiated the development of national strategy for skills development and for out-of-school vulnerable youth. Developed and designed a national action plan on youth and peace and security. Contributed to the review of national employment policy, development of national employment strategy to corporate strategies and intervention of youth employment. Also participated in the development of National Development Plan, NDP4, to ensure inclusive development that leverage the demographic dividends from our country's youth population. In conclusion, Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable colleagues, I wish to conclude by reminding you that Uganda will join the rest of the world to commemorate the International Youth Day on Monday, 12th August at Sorot Koa PTC, Sorot District, under the theme Skills Development for Enhancement of Opportunities for the Youth. Further to that, His Excellency the President.
Honourable Minister, is a procedure matter.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, this was not intended to interrupt the Minister because, Mr. Speaker, the Minister has been so generous to give us a lot of information about so many things. But as a way of procedure, Mr. Speaker, I recall that on his maiden speech in this House, the Minister undertook before this House to make sure that the youth who had been arrested and held for a long time would be released. He even went ahead to demanded that a list be given to him. Mr. Speaker, now that the minister has volunteered a lot of information, wouldn't it even have been procedural okay for him to tell us before he concludes?
Thank you.
Where he has reached so far, because he undertook before this House that we will see that as we commemorate the International Youth Day, how far has he gone on the issue of the release of the youth that he undertook to secure?
Thank you. Colleagues, sometimes you make it really difficult for your presiding officer. Yeah, because this is a very good submission which could have come during the debate. I'm going to allow a debate. I'm going to allow a limited debate as provided for under Rule 52. That's number one. But number two, he has not yet concluded. So I don't know what he has in his conclusion. Maybe Honorable Numbers is cheating for your exam. In the conclusion, this is a critical issue. You can update us.
Further to that, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, is expected to preside over the celebration. Invite all of you colleagues and members of Parliament to attend the International Youth Day celebration in Soroti. I thank you for your kind attention for God and my country. I remain Barugahara Balam, the Minister of Majority.
No.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Minister, Parliament is a house of record. We don't have a Minister of Majority. Please clarify if you
I remain Barugahara Balam, the Minister of Youth for Children and Youth Affairs.
The Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs.
Thank you very much for the question, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Debate, Honorable Nansa Chola, Honorable Mushemeza, Honorable Namuga, Poto. Yes, former chair agenda. Honorable.
We are going to commemorate the Youth Day, the International Youth Day on the 12th in Soroti. I want to thank sincerely the President of the Republic of Uganda for initiating the skilling of the youth in all the sub-region of this country. But also, in light of that, I want to implore through the Minister that it shouldn't only be the skilling that is being done. They should enhance with a few things that after the training of the 6 months when the youth are going home, people who have done tailoring should be given the sewing machines, because we've realized that most of these youth, after finishing, they go home empty-handed. I know the Minister for Gender might tell us that there are sewing machines in their ministry, but the procedure of getting those things are not very easy. And it is not enough for all those that have already acquired the skilling at the industrial hub. So, Honorable Minister, please take note of that. Then finally, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, we've seen youth livelihood programs in this country. But in some districts, including where I come from, Lamuo, the money that has been always taken to the youth, it is always being eaten by the technical staff at the district. And most of these technical officers who are the youth focal persons, they don't even want to let the youth know how much the district has received as youth livelihood programs. And I want to implore our youth, the Minister for Youth, that they need to start fast-tracking how much the youth are always getting. Because several times, some of these monies that goes to the district, people embezzle them.
Poto.
And yet in the Ministry of Gender, we have a program of Juakali. We have a program of Youth Livelihood Fund. We have a program of Youth Venture Capital Fund. I would like to know, Right Honorable Speaker, from you, how has, through you, Right Honorable Speaker, because I'm addressing you, I'm not addressing the Minister. Through you, Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to know how has the minister collaborated with other departments to ensure that the youth that are being skilled are able to acquire tools? Because right now they've gone back to the villages, they are there, and they are forgetting the skills that they have got. As we are celebrating, or we are commemorating World Youth Day, we want to see our youth getting employment, and this is through skilling and giving them tools. Thank you so much, Rector.
Youth and Children Affairs for the statement he has given. Right Honorable Speaker, the youth that we are talking about are not only the able-bodied youth. We have youth with disabilities. And statistics has already shown that only 2% of these youth are accessing the skilling that we have in the country, including that of the presidential initiative. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to implore the ministry, which is headed by the Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs, to take inventory and understand that these youths are not only the youth that come on their own, but they are youth with disability. Right Honorable Speaker, the rehabilitation centers for the people with disabilities, the young people with disabilities, are in very deplorable state. Go to Ruti, and you find that the young people there, they have no tools for learning, they have no tools after learning, they have no mosquito nets. Even when the Ministry of Health gives free mosquito nets, they cannot even think about these institutions and give them free mosquito nets. The young people have very dilapidated infrastructure. These young people who are disabled walk at night almost half a kilometer to access a toilet, even when it has rained. We have been there, Right Honorable Speaker. And I would like to implore the minister to visit so that we don't create a double jeopardy to these people who we pretend to be saving their future. Right Honorable Speaker, the young people with disabilities and their rehabilitation centers have no food and non-food items. The budget was accompanying person or something, some devices that need to access you to the training and the skilling they are giving.
Thank you, Right Honorable. I want to thank the Honorable Minister for the statement made. And I wanted to make one comment that as Busoga region, I to thank the government for that initiative. But it was requested to send 16 youth in Busoga region. And as BND, we had 680 youth who dropped out of school. I'm privileged that the minister visited one time the district and he saw how much overwhelming the youth demands were. Through you, Right Honorable Speaker, I'm requesting Honorable Minister for the youth to make a revisit and revise. Every district is dynamic. As Buyende, most of the youth were engaged in fishing. As I talk now, this morning, majority of youth have been on a strike at Bukung landing site. And yet yesterday we were there. The RDC discussed the issues of fishing, and we failed to control them, and yet in real essence, their argument is right. Majority have been engaged in fishing, especially these smaller fish, and majority are incapacitated financially. They cannot afford the legal.
Thank you. Youth Northern Uganda.
I'll explain to you why. Right Honorable Speaker, I've been observing how you've demanded for particularly this statement, and also your continuous involvement in youth-related events, including the Youth Parliament and the Children's Parliament. And this is a testament, Right Honorable Speaker, that you have not forgotten your OBs and OGs, who are the youth. Secondly, I want to thank the Honorable Minister. For 3 years, we have not had the International Youth Day celebrated on its internationally gazetted day. But for the first time in 3 years, we finally had that. I want to thank the Minister for prioritizing the youth in the government calendar. Day events with very minimal impact. Right, Honorable Speaker, how can we ensure that these events have a lasting and significant impact on our people and not just celebrations? The Honorable Minister just said so does. Secondly, a majority of leaders in this House, Right Honorable Speaker, are products of youth leadership. A majority of these members are former National Youth Council leaders, youth leaders within political parties, or even youth leaders in UNSA. There is a challenge. We have an elaborate structures of youth throughout the country, but these structures are mostly non-functional and weak. How can we as this House ensure that these structures are functional and meaningfully impact on the lives of the many youth that we represent? Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, given that this country is largely youth-centric, and the Minister has also provided a lot of facts on programs of youth, I want to move that we gazette a specific session of this House this month, which is a youth month, and we have a very structured debate on the status of the youth and also youth programs in this country, so that we make appropriate recommendations for action. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Honorable will share on how this can be structured, and then we'll see how best we can implement it. But that's a good idea. Honorable Namuga, I want first, if you know you're above 30, first sit. Let me first. Honorable Namuga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, she's, just look at her, she's below 30.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for his submission, and also to appreciate the contribution of government towards skilling the youth in this country. Right Honorable Speaker, I have a comment about the Youth Livelihood Program that has now lasted for some 10 years and above. Right Honorable Speaker, this is a revolving fund. However, some amount close to 43 billion has not been revolved. So the Ministry of Gender must ensure that this money is revolved. This is according to the Auditor General's report, that the money was recovered, but it wasn't revolved. That should be noted too. Right Honorable Speaker, we should listen to the plight of the youth that had its strike on issues of corruption. Right Honorable Speaker, many of these youth are in prison on charges of becoming a public nuisance. How I wish on this Youth Day celebrations, Honorable Minister, you listen to the plight of the youth to be released unconditionally. And also have many youth in prisons for political reasons. 4 years, 5 years, they've not appeared before courts of law. So if we are to look at a government that cares for the youth, really look into ensuring that these youth get justice. Lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, we all know that we've just concluded the census, the population census, and it's clear that Uganda is among the countries with a very youthful population, but very unemployed. The youth have been made unproductive. So, Honorable Minister, can we think about the youth that are very skilled but very redundant in homes of their parents? Kindly think about them so that this country can serve us as a whole nation unselectively. Last, Right Honorable Speaker, Sembabula as a district has been left out on issues of skilling centers, and we are among the most populated districts. So think about Sembabula as a district. We only have one vocational school. It is Rutunku Vocational School that is in Maogola North, far away from the most populated constituents of Maogola County. So, Honorable Minister for the Youth, think about, and even Maogola West of the Honorable Nifa, but Maogola County of Honorable Namuga is more vulnerable. So, think about, Honorable Minister, of how you can cater for Sembabule in a unique way. It's not being selfish, but Sembabule is very vulnerable in many areas. Thank you, Right Honorable Minister. Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Franka Kawil.
Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Minister who has read to us the statement, we do appreciate, but I also wanted to make a comment about the list of the success or the achievement that has been listed in the statement. The Minister speaks about the YLP program, which he quotes as one of the successful programs Ministry of Gender has implemented. But on the Gender Committee where we sit, this program was cut short of funding because it was non-performing. The funds that were given out to go and help the youth were all embezzled, and some of the ghost groups that were created failed to pay back the fund. That's why on the recovery, you'll find that YLP is performing very poorly and UWEP was performing way better. So I think for a program that has been listed by government and cut short of funding because of non-performing, we can't list it under the successful programs that we've given out to the youth. Also, back to the theme, Right Honorable Speaker, we are speaking about giving skills to the young people. Yes, that brings back to the mind of government that we identify and recognize many young people are short-cut of the opportunities because they lack the skills. How I wish the minister could prioritize the theme by putting it in action, not just speaking. It is a shame that today we are celebrating and giving such a theme, but recently many medical interns are in cells, many have been arrested because they are fighting for opportunities for the skills they learned in the different institutions of higher learning. It is a shame that we, the leaders, who should give these young people an opportunity to listen to them when they come out to speak about corruption. It is not about only corruption in Parliament. They speak about corruption everywhere. Many funds have been listed that they have been given to us, the young people. But when you go to our districts, none of us can identify a project that is running well from the 284 billion that is claimed to have been dispersed in the Youth Livelihood Program. So I think we should give them a voice, listen to them, and also welcome their ideas. Sometimes they're advising us not to fall into the deeper pit, but by blocking them, we are giving them maybe an alternative to.
Thank you. Honorable Masala. Just wait, is the Shadow Minister
for Honorable Speaker for that chance. By us failing to recognize their voices and giving them a chance to be heard, we might giving them an alternative to maybe confront us in the other way around. Also, finally, Right Honorable Speaker, when we look at you, some of us admire the kind of leadership you offer to this House and the country. How I wish, for the many years I've joined Parliament, we've celebrated this day. And we've always had that one chief guest who is no longer relevant to the circumstances that we are passing through as a country. How I wish on this day we get young, able leaders like you. I'm also here. We have the able president of the National Unity Platform. He's an inspiration to this generation. How I wish we give such kind to go and speak to these people. Right Honorable Speaker, the day of the youth celebration is losing meaning because it is predominantly, or it is dominated by one political party. All other parties, all other youths need a voice. They need to be celebrated. Their ideas need to be heard. But when you look at the settings and the organizations, it looks like the Youth NRM Day. How I wish we give that platform that can accommodate everyone, regardless of their color, regardless of their political background, but give them a chance and also new faces to speak to them, inspire them, motivate them to be better leaders of this our country. I thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Frank, our senior leader, is very relevant. We are learning a lot from him. Yes, we are learning a lot from him. Honorable Masala.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank government for the initiative that they are doing to attract more foreign direct investment into the country because this is employing most of our youth. But I believe we need to go beyond just providing employment. I think we need to look at the quality of employment that this foreign direct investment is bringing into the country. I do represent a constituency that has one of the biggest industrial parks, I think, outside Kampala, that is in Mbale City. But when you reach in this industrial park and you look at the conditions that our youth are going through, it's quite alarming. It's as if it's another form of slave trade, because many of our youths are being exploited. You find they're being paid about 5,000, 6,000 a day. They're working 12 hours. They are not provided with any PPEs, any health and safety. And yes, it's the bitter reality that is happening. And I've tried to look at the national employment policy, and not many of these things are catered for. So I believe we need to cater for our youths. We need to protect them, because once someone is earning less than 200,000 a day, what do you expect that person to retire to after maybe 10, 15 years? These industrial parks, these factories, they are not saving for our children. None of them actually have not seen any registered with NSSF and saving. They are being given a handout, cash on a daily basis. So I think on this Youth Day, it is one of the key things that we need to look at.
Honorable Bashuto.
Thank you very much. That is too much, Honorable Speaker, for that to go on record. Because yes, all of us have visited that industrial park. They may be earning little, but a slave does not earn anything. A slave does not choose to do the work he or she is undertaking. That's why, my honorable colleague and good friend, I think that is too much for a leader to refer to somebody who has gone to willingly, opted willingly to work and is earning it may be less, and equate that person to a slave. That is what. Are you therefore in order, my honorable colleagues, to refer to these young Ugandans who are willingly working, offering their labor and earning something, though little, as slaves in this era?
Thank you. Yes, Masaba, he was laboring to explain the conditions that these people they are working in and all that, but he could have put it better without, honorable colleagues, is what we call a glass half empty and a glass half full. If you say half empty, you don't appreciate any effort that has managed to put in something to drink. But when you say half full, even if it's very little, you appreciate the little effort. It's better than those who have not gotten anything. I know many youth would want to go and work under those conditions in Mbale if you gave them. So, but again, he is raising a grave concern he has as a leader from the area. So you can clarify it better. You package it.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable, in the conditions. And I said it is as if, I did not say that they are under slave trade. I don't know if you got me right, but I said it is as if, because many of them are working because they have no option and they have nothing else to do. So that is what I was trying to explain. And as a leader from the area, I approached some of the owners of these parks and requested for jobs for some of these young people. But when they got there, the challenges that they do face, I no longer now support or take or help recruit people to go into these works, because some of the children got accidents at work. And these parks, they do not provide anything to do with medical. One got the arm messed up by one of the machines, and we had to go through a lot to treat this individual. That is the issue I was trying to raise. I did not mean they are under slavery, but the conditions, I think we need to address this issue once and for all, and the ministry needs to come out with clear guidelines. They need to save for these children, and I think one of the key things we should focus on as the 11th Parliament is the law on minimum wage. I don't know how soon that can come back on this floor of Parliament, because honestly speaking, many of our people are being exploited, and we're having a lot of capital flights. There is a lot of money that is leaving this country and at the expense of our youth, Right Honourable Speaker. So I think the government needs to take an interest in that, and probably when you're addressing, as the minister, you should address this issue concerning the pay of our people who are working in most of these factories around it.
Thank you. Now, honourable colleagues, I'm constrained by time. I've seen mothers, you're not agreeing with how the children are submitting. the children are more aggressive. So it's their day-to-day. If there is any other youth MP present, youth MP.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to personally express my sincere gratitude to you as the leader of this parliament for your continued support and mentorship that you are offering the young people of this country, especially through us, the leaders. We thank you, and as a leadership, we are indebted to you. Thank you very much. Two, I wish to commend the government of Uganda for this time allocating resources that the International Youth Day is celebrated on its day, departing from the previous years when we would celebrate it weeks and months after. I thank the government. Thank you very much. I also want to commend the minister. He highlighted one important thing. That is, they launched the National Coordination Mechanism for Youth Interventions. Right Honorable Speaker, as the minister highlighted, it is true indeed. There are so many interventions of government scattered across various MDAs, various ministries of government, and yet no single fruit of synergy can be seen from these interventions. How I wish, Honorable Minister, that you would elevate this national coordination mechanism from just being a coordination mechanism for programs under one ministry and coordinate all programs across all ministries. And secondly, Minister, Honorable Minister, I request that information pertaining all government interventions for the youth be well packaged, put in one package and made available for the youth on platforms that are easily accessible to them. Other than that, when we come and read figures here and read other interventions that government has put in place, this remains rhetoric to most of the young people in this country. And lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, I wish to request that before we celebrate the International Youth Day, which is Monday next week, that some of the underlying questions, like the questions on medical interns, be resolved such that on that day, we are celebrating all at once, not with some of us in jail, not with some of us held behind bars because of trying to raise their voices. Right Honorable Speaker, as a young person, I was a bit perturbed when I saw members with some resistance trying to say, Honorable Minister, don't provide that much information. One of the purposes of us celebrating this day is to provide a platform that as much information is available to the public on what government is doing, on what the youth are doing to contribute. So when we come to this plenary and members are held aback and trying to limit on what information should be provided, as young people, we feel a little bit excluded. I want to request members to receive always this information, take it up and follow up, and mobilize young people to take interest in what government is doing to contribute and change their lives. Thank you very much, and may God bless.
Thank you. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable colleagues, for the question raised. I want to start with Honourable Nambozo's request or reminder that I came to the floor of the House. Honourable Betty Nambozo. Honourable Betty Namboze. Okay, Bachireke. Thank you. Thank you for the correction.
For report, Mr. Speaker.
Now, Honourable Betty.
Honourable Mrs. Betty Namboze Bachireke.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in this house, we have 3 members who are almost go by the same names. And for the sake of clarity, Mr. Speaker, I wish to state that I'm called Bachireke Namboze Betty. Mr. Speaker, if the Honourable Minister continues to call me Nambozo, he will remove me from Buganda to Bugisu. There is the Honourable Nambozo in this house. I'm not the one. I'm Bachireke Namboze Betty.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Minister Youth, there is a clarification I would want you to make, bearing in mind that the National Planning Authority commissioned a demographics report, and it puts the youth age at a dependence ratio highest ever, even with the skilling, even with the achievements that you have just taken us through, even with the digitalization. It is beyond even 100, it is 103%. See how abnormal it is. And we're trying to look at how to harness the demographic dividend of the youth. And this is between 2022, 2024. And I expected you to let us know how the programs have not helped to lower the mass unemployment of the youth. They are at a staggering 78%, of course. Uganda has the youngest population. But the challenge we grapple with, and you grapple with as a government, is that of mass unemployment. And it has seen many of these youth, particularly those that are churned out by our universities and other tertiary institutions, that are skilled, leaving this country through trafficking, through unlicensed companies, to work in the Middle East and other places where they have even been subjected to modern-day slavery. In fact, my colleague, the Honorable Masawa, was accurate to have talked of slavery. The modern-day slavery is this one where your labor is exploited. Most of the investors, by the way, one of the factors, Mr. Speaker, why some investors would love to come to Uganda is because Uganda has the cheapest labor to offer. Uganda has the best young population whose labor is exploitable, Mr. Speaker. And that's not something to aggrandize yourself about. It is something to frown about. But from the submission, I see your statement is awash with the achievements, which achievements are theoretical, on ground. Yeah, the truth of the matter is that even this youth, the Chuakali, who are skilled, majority of them, I think I concur with the member, female member, that the distinguished member of Lamu, that most of the youth are back home. Almost 3/4 of those that are being skilled. So don't you think it is high time you revised this policy of skilling Uganda? But Mr. Speaker, let me conclude. Recently, I went through the public debt. Are you aware that if you add, it is at 84 trillion, but if you add commitment fees and interest, it is at 97 trillion. And I calculated, I realized the burden will shift from us to the younger people. They will be the ones who will pay that debt. So I was pondering over it and said, if you were to design a very good theme for Monday, next Monday, 12th, it should have been, blessed are the youth of Uganda because they will inherit the public debt. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir.
You don't need to answer every question, Honorable. No, you have 5 minutes.
I'll merge some. Honorable Bachireke Betty Namboze raised the issue of the National Unity Platform Young People. I want to inform you that we shall issue a statement on Monday in Soroti. I had a discussion with the President just yesterday. I reminded him of his kindness. He had allowed to stand surety. He had allowed to stand surety for those young people. Most of those young people were given bail, but they were denied bail due to the conditions that were put in place. Just hold on. So the President has once again pledged that is going to act on that. Let it be on record of Parliament. Those young people will get freedom soon. Number 2, Honorable Patrick Oshabe. Honorable Patrick Oshabe.
Colleagues, there is a statement that has a theme. There is
Irene requested that we need to equip the skilled youth. That is part of our agenda. We have discussed this in Cabinet, and soon a paper will come to the floor of Parliament regarding you have skilled but you have not equipped. What happens? You go back to the village or you go back to your residence. So we shall equip and skill. Then Honorable Kabahande from Chegegwa, Kabahenda from Chegegwa, Flavia, he raised the issue of equity, that the disabled are not considered as in reference to training. Few are attaining training. I want to inform you, Honorable Kabahenda, that we have the Minister of the Disabled, and we are working closely to close the gaps. Whatever gaps are there, we shall close them. Then you raised the issue of low budget for these disabled children, rehabilitation centers. That is not the only affected area in our ministry. In the last budget, we requested more funds to feed even the juvenile. We have close to 1,800 young people, juveniles, who are currently in detention or who are currently in remand homes, but they eat very small portion of food. Only a budget of 640 million was passed by this house to feed those children and to maintain those homes. Some of these homes even don't have cars to deliver the children to court to get fair justice. So this is something, as a Minister of Children, we need to work on, and Parliament, we need to have this matter addressed as soon as possible, so that these children home get cars. I'm inspecting the homes. I was in Imbale 2 days ago. I was at Fort Portal the other day. I went to Masindi on Friday. I intend to go to Gulu next week and Arua a week after. So, and then Kampiringisa. So let's work together, Parliament and the Cabinet, to have this budget for the juvenile centers and the rehabilitation centers increased, so that now I'll give you an example for the Potro Remand Home. There is a block which still has asbestos, and these are condemned materials. So why don't we remove those asbestos and we put iron sheets? So we need to work jointly as Parliament and Cabinet to have this addressed. The Honorable Nyakato of Buyende raised the issue of having only Nakavango, where 16 youth were selected from every district. So far, government has started with 18 skilling centers countrywide in every sub-region. But out of those 18, they allocate every district. Like in Central here in Buganda, you have one in Kayunga, but the capacity to hold so many is not there. And the budget, that was a presidential initiative. The budget hasn't been expanded for the same. Then Honorable Okot Boniface, Honorable Okot Boniface thanked the President and government for celebrating the International Youth Day on the right day. I want to thank the President as well for allowing this happen. Honorable Namuga raised the issue of money, 43 billion, that is meant to be revolved as per Auditor General's report, and it has not been revolved. This will be investigated and we shall report back to Parliament.
Sorry,
then,
point of privilege.
Mr. Speaker, is a very important concern regarding the working conditions of our young people. Honorable Masaba, I need to inform you, I would like to inform you that 2 months ago we formed an inter-ministerial committee comprising of Minister of Investment, Minister of Trade, and Minister of Labor, Minister of State for Labor. So we are working closely together, inspecting all these centers to see the gaps, missing gaps are filled. So this is very, very important that the young people's safety is prioritized and that will be handled. I think those are the many I identified. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you. As a speaker, using my authority under Rule 229, I feel should be expanded from the record, because we said the president is going to stand surety. The president cannot stand surety for any people, for any person, because if he stands surety, any person who stands surety and is not able to produce the accused, that person will go to prison. And the president cannot be taken to prison. He has immunity. Okay? So for the record, that should be expanded so that we keep our president safe from people running to him to be their surety. Okay? Yeah. Maybe, Honorable, there is a way the president put it.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I totally agree that phrase should be expanded. Nonetheless, I'd like to thank the members for this very lively debate and to stress that His Excellency the President, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, is one of the strongest allies of the youth we have in East Africa. He indeed fondly refers to the youth as Vazukuru, and in any address, he emphasizes the opportunities created under NRM for the youth in terms of education, in terms of health and immunization, in terms of the skilling hubs, in terms of industrialization, providing for the security, and so on, including providing opportunities for leadership for the youth at all levels of governance in this country. So for me, I think this Youth Day is an opportunity to give credit to His Excellency the President for a good job done in this country in providing opportunities for the youth. I'd like to urge the youth leaders at all levels, especially in local government, let's take this day seriously, mobilize the youth so that they take opportunities in government programs to strengthen the future of the youth. I thank you, and thanks to our Honourable Minister for a good job done. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honourable Guzuri.
Agenda for inclusivity, and he mentioned that there are programs for PWDs. I'm privy to information that there are street children who have not been catered for in this event he is leading. I also have information that there are youth who are orphans, they do not have parents, and they have not been catered for on the programming for this event. So we want the minister to tell us so that the children who are orphans and street kids across the country can go after his statement that indeed this government cares for them. Most importantly, he should assure the children with the visual and the hearing impairments who do not have gadgets and how they are going to celebrate this day without those necessary tools which are needed. And he needs to tell us what arrangements they have put in place for children of that nature. We are going to mobilize as urged by the Minister for Local Government
Honourable Minister
of their